Absolutely. So good to be here. Coming off an open week, we're excited about the opportunity to be at home. It seems like forever. You go a month into the season before you have a chance to play a home game. It's kind of unique, but we're excited to be back at home in front of our home crowd. We're excited about the opportunity to have a full house here at the bank. Excited about the opportunity to get back on the right track. Worked on some things in the open week. When you look at us right now, we got on third down, we can't stay on the field on offense. We're really struggling getting off the field on defense. And explosive plays on both sides have been, either lacking on offense or too many on the other side, or some things that are glaring things that we got to work on, and we've gone to work on it. To try to get better at those things, try to get better, at practicing through tough times, adversity, things happening, continue to play and do your job, continue to get better at what we do, to have better execution. There's a lot of things we're working on, but that's a big piece of it. And we'll continue to work through those things. And, we had a pretty extended practice Friday to really kind of work through some stuff. I thought we had a decent start to the week on Monday, which is positive. If we can stack some days, which is kind of what we're trying to do, where we can put some days back to back where we really go out. Emphasis is really finishing the back half of practice. When we get a little bit tired and things get a little tougher, we gotta fight through that and be able to overcome that. And that's something we got a huge emphasis on right now, that we're gonna take some steps forward on. We got to go out and attack it. To get better. And then, because at the end of the day, the opponent's one thing. That's one thing you got to deal with. But if we don't take care of ourselves first, we'll never have a chance to get to the opponent. And right now, we got to take care of ourselves and make sure we're doing everything we're capable of. And then you got to deal with the opponent, which is the next thing. But we got to take care of us first, and get ourselves ready to go. And I think that's really the focus point right now that's been for us. And it's across the board. The whole, everybody involved is stuff we got to work on. And we're going to go attack this stuff and get better and get ready for Saturday night. I'll open up for questions.
Coach, I know that the game up at Cincinnati wasn't indicative of what Owls football normally is. Was this a game where you brought it back and made everybody watch the tape, or is this one where you just went ahead and burned it?
No, we watched it. We're not in a spot right now. We got to go look at everything and really be very critical of everything and try to go fix some stuff. They're two very different opponents, but there was a lot of the same in both games. Obviously, and I'm not getting into who's what, but, so the mistakes were the mistakes, and when you go look at the things that happen, there's some times where they make a good play. They got good players. Okay, that's going to happen in a game. But what you see is some self-inflicted wounds, some things that we can fix that are controllables, right? So I think that's what we got to go look at and fix. So, no, it wasn't one of those we got too much to learn right now, too much room to grow, and we got to use every available moment to do that. So never even a thought, to be honest with you. I thought we came out and tried to compete a little bit, but not to our standard yet. We got to keep working to get there, because it wasn't. They're probably a better football team simply because of the nature of what you're dealing with. But I told our guys, and I've always told them this here: our best is good enough. Our best is good enough. Whatever that means is what it means, but our best is good enough. We want our best. That's what we're looking for, our best. And then we'll deal with whatever happens. And we got to get to where we're playing our best. And the great thing about all of it is we're nowhere close to that right now. The bad thing about all that is we're nowhere close to where that is right now, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, the great thing is we're not. We got so much room to grow. The bad part is we got to get there. And I think we're taking some steps in the right direction. It's just needs to accelerate right now.
With that, you say some of the same mistakes. Is there any one particular area? I know Sanford, there seemed to be some holes in the secondary. Cincinnati is Cincinnati. What is that kind of the main focus, or is that just one of the pieces of the puzzle?
I think it's all across the board right now, and you'll find you'll find some snaps where you're like, man, like on defense, you'll find 11 guys doing their job, and it'll be a really good play, right? Or it'll be a minimal game, whatever it might be, and you might find another snap like that. But then you find it where several guys are off or something happens. Next thing you know, there's an explosive play. So guys got to go do their job. Teams are going to make plays. I mean, they got players too, and they practice as well, right? But at the end of the day, across the board, and I'm talking about special teams, I'm talking about everything. Like there's no this thing right here is not like okay, it's offense, or okay, it's defense, or okay, it's special teams, or it's just players, or just coaches. It's all of us. We just all got to do better. Like, and so it's not like one area, John, or one thing. It's across the board. Just stuff we can go get better at, and we can control. And, like sometimes I think there's, our guys, they'll look for that magic answer, right? That all of a sudden, okay, the only answer to any of this is hard work. You just got to show up and work hard. You got to do your job. And that's really the only way you can really go attack this stuff is that way.
Looking at the two deep for this week, I don't see any freshmen on the offensive line. Does that mean that we're back healthy, getting the starters back to where they need to be, at least in that area?
Well, I'll be honest with you. That two deep. I mean, by Thursday, man, that two deep could be completely different. It's such a moving thing. But we do have Matt Olson back. He's been practicing. Really, he could have played in the game last Saturday, but he had not practiced enough, really. And personally, I was not comfortable putting him in the game because he just hadn't practiced enough. But he has practiced so far, and he should be available to play unless something happens the next few days, which I pray it doesn't, which helps because now you can – so James Dawson really was a tackle, had to move to center. So now you're trying to move some people back around to get them back in the right position if we can keep everybody healthy, to get us back in a better spot. I think some of those, one of the freshmen that played in the first game has been hurt and hasn't even practiced. The other one it will be a backup, and he's going to be a good player here. He's just young. He's a freshman. So up front, we're closer. It's just such a daily thing. It's, it's like, Goss asked me about 2 deep. Like, I don't know today. I mean, it's going to change at practice, and it did. These guys go down at practice, and like you're moving people around. And, I said it in there, and we were meeting this morning. I'm like, if we could keep those 5 or 6 guys healthy and go consistently practice, well, I mean, we're going to get better. And I think we're getting closer to that. We're just not there yet, but we are getting closer. It helps with Matt getting back because he's just been out for so long. So, and he's still trying to get in shape and get ready to play. But right now he's available, and unless something happens, he'll be able to play this week. In the depth chart, I mean, there's a lot of moving things on that. Like if you go through it, and there's been a lot of talk about the quarterback stuff, right? So I met with both those guys this morning, and since we started this thing, I told them, both of them, everybody wants to come talk about X and the accolades and all. I'm like, guys, we're going to need both of these guys to go win here. And I've told them that multiple times. I've told the media that multiple times. We're going to need both of them. I met with both of them this morning. I said, guys, we need both of you. I said, I don't know what's going to happen through the course of the year. We need both of you. I said, Murphy, you've earned the right to start this week. I said, we evaluate you guys every day. I said, I don't know what it's going to look like for a series and all that because we'll deal with that at the end of the week. But everybody's in a competitive mode, especially at that position right now. And, man, we those two guys, I mean, y'all go look at last year. And I don't know if you read, but, I mean, you don't never know what's going to happen when. But Murphy's earned the right to start. He's we evaluate those guys on a daily, and he's earned that right. I don't know what that'll look like on Saturday. We haven't made that decision as far as that goes. Last Saturday we played both of them, and we'll see what that looks like at the end of the week. But my point being is there's a lot of moving on the 2 deep when you bring it up. There's a lot of things that are in competition. That one is where it's at, but I told those guys, man, every day, man, it's competition. You got to go out and compete, and that's what's made those two guys good, in my opinion. Is when they've gone and compete against each other. They got a good relationship, and done a great job of that, and they got to continue to do that. and help be leaders for our football team. So that's just one point. There's others on there that we're still moving for guys to compete and get better. And obviously, the more guys we get back out there, the better the competition is. Depth is always a problem, always will be here.
Wofford comes to town. You guys know them real well. They know you guys real well. Murph's had good success against them. Do you see any changes in what they do other than, obviously new personnel is going to be coming in each matchup, but is everything pretty much still the same?
Well, I mean, they're evolving a little bit offensively. They've changed, from what they were, several years ago, and they were for years, and they've evolved a little bit. They're a zone team, which they had been in, obviously when we played them before, but they're evolving that a little bit. I think they're getting better. Their record doesn't show it, but when you watch them play, they're getting better. They're getting more comfortable within their scheme of what they're trying to get accomplished. They got a hard-nosed running back. Quarterback can run and throw. They're doing just enough zone read to keep you honest with what they do, which is kind of, they were, back in the day, they were more option-oriented. So offensively, I think they're kind of coming into their own a little bit. Got a big wide out, made some really good catches and plays against Virginia Tech. Defensively, they're an odd front, which is what they've been. Now, their base defense right now is a little different, really, than what they played against us. But their record's not indicative, I think, of where they are right now. I think they're definitely making improvements and getting better. They're coming off playing a ACC opponent, right? Listen, they got to find a way to win a game. They're sitting there and they're going to come out fighting, and they're going to play the best game they've played Saturday night right here at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. So we got to be prepared for that, and we got to go take care of ourselves and get ourselves ready to go.
I think it's 5 of the next 6 games are at home. Is this kind of the stretch where you really kind of have to grab the schedule by the throat and turn yourselves into what you want to be?
Well, I don't know about the schedule, but if we don't go out and practice good today, it ain't gonna matter. I mean, that's how, it ain't even Saturday right now. We got to take this thing day by day and go out and put together a day of practice and then build on that for the next day leading up to Saturday. I think our guys understand. I think they do understand where we are. As I kind of referenced to them several times, you kind of get backed in a corner a little bit because you're in a place you've never been, right? So how do you respond to that? How do you, you gonna come out of that corner fighting, And I'm not talking about literal fighting. I'm just talking about, hey, we got to go get this. We got to find a way to make this happen. We got to go make this work. And I think that's where we are right now. And it's got to show up in your preparation and how you go about your business and practice. And we got to come out with a new sense of urgency. Saturday night, attention to detail and focus and some energy, and we got to sustain it. You look at us. There's some early drives where you see guys really playing well, but we don't sustain that. And this is a 4-quarter game for a reason. 60 minutes, there's a reason it's that, and we got to be able to sustain that, which comes back to again finishing practice and the things that I've talked about earlier.
Coach, you mentioned at the start of the press conference the amount of explosive plays defensively and then trying to get more offensively. Without getting into strategy, what else goes into that, limiting it defensively and increasing it offensively?
Well, I think the big thing usually on defense, and there's times when you're playing really good opponents, they make some plays, but you could break down and say they had 14 explosive plays, which first 2 games the teams have averaged around 13 explosive plays. So you go break down those plays and you look and see how many missed assignments or missed or things that would be controllable. Now, there's sometimes, man, a guy made a heck of a throw, made a heck of a catch, made a heck of a run. Man, like I said, they got good players. They practice. So I think you go look at it that way and go, all right, what can we control? And I think it's the same on both sides. Even in the game Saturday, we left a lot of offense out on that field just by doing things more efficiently and effectively. And so I think it's when you look at that, other teams are going to make plays. I mean, but if we control and do the things we're capable of, I think it'll give us an opportunity to have more on offense and lessen the number on the other side, which in essence is going to give us a better chance to win. And we got to be better on third down. Those two things right there are glaring. You could, stats, you can do what you want with them, Nolan, but the third down and explosive plays for 2 weeks, it's undeniable. You can't really hide from it. It is what it is. Obviously, first and second down play an impact on third down, right? So there's a lot that goes into that. So I think it's more about, when you break it down, looking at, all right, what can we control? What can we do a better job of? There's times we could maybe put our kids in a better position, right? So this is a holistic thing. This is not just about, hey, so-and-so didn't do this or that. This is, listen, I tell our kids all the time, man, we win as a team, we lose as a team. We're all in this sucker together. So, but it's pretty clear. There's things you can point to and go, hey, bam, if we do this, this is going to have a different outcome. And I think for our guys being able to see that, all right, now if we can go do that in practice and fix it on a regular, consistent basis, and I think that's where the things got all tied together.
In addition to helping move some other guys around up front, the return of Matt Olson, what other impact does that have on the offensive line and the offensive unit?
Well, he's he was an iron owl, which is the guy that gets really the hardest worker over the summer, which I think he's the first offensive lineman we've had receive that. I do think the other guys look up to him because he's a great worker. He's not a great vocal guy, but he's learned to do a better job of that. And I think so. There's some leadership pieces that come in with that. The big piece is able to get kind of guys back where they belong, or where they've been practicing most of the time, and hopefully where we can get our best 5 out there, ready to go that aren't beat up, hurt, injured. So hopefully those are some components that that'll be able to help. I think sometimes when guys are hurt, they don't feel comfortable leading because they're not out there practicing, if that makes sense. And they still can do it because a leader's a leader no matter what the situation. But I think sometimes that they feel that's tough because they're not out there practicing every day, and for them to say something, you know what I mean? So, but it doesn't matter. You lead when you need to lead. It doesn't matter if you're hurt, practicing, not practicing. But I think Matt being back from some leadership will help. I think him being back there, you can move guys back maybe where they should have been to begin with. James had really practiced at tackle until we knew we had to have a center, and he had done that before. So I think that'll help him as well, and hopefully we can get 5 or 6 guys ready to go.
In your evaluation of the quarterbacks going back to Murphy, what were some things that you saw that you felt like he did well that led you to that decision?
Just executing the offense. I think sometimes at quarterback and sometimes other positions too, but, you feel like you got to go make a play or do something. You don't. You just got to go execute the offense, take care of the football, do your job, and that's it. And those guys are both good enough athletes to go make plays when they need to within the scheme. So I think that's it, and being efficient with what we do, and nobody's perfect, right? But listen, this thing, you go back, a year ago, Murph started, and they both played and they both won games here, and they're going to have to here. I think we got, it's just an evaluation when you look at what they're doing day in, day out. And I told them, I said, it's not just a day's work, it's a body of work. But we evaluate every day, but it is a body of work of just going and executing the offense.
And you talked about Wofford's last game against Virginia Tech. It seemed like they played better in that game against the Hokies. And I think, Coach, if you take out one quarter, they're pretty neck and neck as far as the scoreboard goes at Virginia Tech. What else stood out in that film of that game?
Well, I think the big thing is they were playing hard. They've gotten better. Again, sometimes your record or the scoreboard doesn't always indicate the movement of a football team. But I think offensively they're getting better. I think they're starting to get a better feel for what they want to get accomplished. And defensively, the kids are playing hard. Like I said, I think I was watching the game. It was like 3-0. I think maybe going into the second quarter. You know what I mean? It's a tight ball game. So, but they're going to come in here and play their best game. There's no two ways about it. obviously they haven't beaten us, and I think there'll be more reason for them to be amped up and ready to go. And we got to be prepared for that. We got to understand, what you're walking into and what you got to get ready for. So, but yeah, I mean, I watched the game at home, just watching on TV, and then obviously watching it on film. But like I said, they're getting better.
Coach, I know the boys are excited to be able to finally play a game this season on their own field. From a team's perspective, what is the importance of having a packed stadium full of Owl fans this season?
Well, there's no question the energy that comes with that is infectious, right? I talk about within our team having the energy because it's contagious, it's infectious, and like that place being packed, student section, our guys are going to feed off that, and it's going to bring some energy for them to go continue doing the things I talked about in this press conference. But shoot, you got that extra, that 12th man per se, however you want to call it. It's impactful now, and it can have the other impact on the other side, right? So like it's huge for us, and I think that'll be a huge impact on the game. Just that energy and enthusiasm that your home crowd can bring to help boost you a little bit, and shoot, we need it. We'll take it, and excited about that opportunity. All right, thank you, Coach. All right, thank y'all.